Hi, I'm Bill Varenkamp. I'm Director of Technical Support here at Imaging Spectrum, and here to talk to you about the new DNP RX1HS. And the HS does stand for high speed. It is about 20% faster than the original RX1 printer. Now, there's not a lot of differences in the box. It all looks pretty much the same. However, it does say HS in the top right-hand corner. Not a big deal, but that is how you differentiate the two. Also, it does have a new media to work with it, and this is important. The original RX1 media had a yellow end. The new one has a gray end, so there is a difference between the ends, and this end is where the RFID chip is, and that's what talks to the printer. So again, make sure you're using the one with the gray end when you go to load. When you buy the printer and you open it up for the first time, you are going to see these 5x7 spacers. Now, here's the deal. There's no 5x7 media here in the United States, so these are not necessary to load onto the spools. In fact, if you do, it won't let the paper fit on there. So again, whatever you do, don't use the spacers because there is no 5x7 media, again, here in the States for it. So it's only in Asia and Europe. Okay, so again, we're just gonna toss these. Okay, so the spools, of course, where the paper resides, and these are double-sided, so they work on either side. It doesn't matter which one you put it on. When you do open the printer, and that did pop open while I was playing with it, but when you do open it up for the first time, you do have a little foam pad, okay? And this foam pad says required for transportation, and they mean it, okay? When you go to transport this printer, you need to do a couple things. You need to dump out the shard tray, pull it out from the bottom, dump out these shards. If you do not, during transport, one of these shards can get stuck in the cutter, and if it does, it can break the cutter or jam the cutter. Either way, it's difficult to get out. Also, when you transport the media, when the paper is wound through the printer, it actually can knock out the little sensor that signifies when the paper is loaded. Again, that's bad. And of course, the ribbon is right here, and the print head is right up here. And that's what this pad does. It protects the print head during transport. So you do want to take that ribbon out. That way this will give full control and support for transport. And now let's talk about loading paper and ribbon. Now, this is a slightly partially used roll of paper and ribbon, so it doesn't really matter. When you open it up, paper looks just like this. Put the spools on both sides. Make sure it snaps on there nice and tight. Okay. This just goes in right here. You do want to load the paper first before you load the ribbon, because the ribbon goes on top. And then what you simply do is, once that's in there, just feed it down, okay? And you listen for the beep. Hope you could hear that. The beep's important because when you load it, that lets you know it's in far enough. One other thing that does happen when it beeps, it not only beeped, it went from this 2 lights to this 1 light. So if you're in a large, or when you're in a loud space, like at a wedding or nightclub or something, and you can't hear it, you can always look for the light to change. Next thing we're going to do is load the ribbon, okay? And again, the yellow side with the RFID chip just snaps right up here into the yellow spot, so it can't miss it. It just fits right in there. And then the other half just fits right down here in the bottom. And then you do want to take out a little bit of the tension there, make sure it's tight in there. And then we're just going to close this. Okay, the first thing it's going to do is going to do alignment sheets. Remember, my grubby hands have been all over this paper. So what it's going to do, it's going to cut out any of the fingerprints, but it's also aligning the paper into the machine. So it's getting it lined up between the, when it comes out here and on the print head. So 5 sheets, and those are just waste. And just FYI, there is plenty of paper on this roll of paper. So don't think you're losing prints, because there's 700 pieces of 4x6 on the ribbon, and that's exact. However, you probably have about 716, 720 pieces of paper. So again, you're not wasting anything. Don't think of that. It's just aligning the paper. Another thing about the RX1, because I mentioned earlier, this now prints in 12 seconds instead of 16 seconds, or about 12.4 seconds. So it is about 20% faster than the old RX1. And also, any of the old RX1s, the new paper and ribbon does work in the printer. However, If you go to the DNP site, download the firmware, for the HS firmware, you can actually turn your RX1 into an HS and get that extra 20% faster speed. So that's something else that comes to the table with the HS printer. So that's loading the RX1HS printer, and we're going to go into printing next.